rap serial killer.
Years, King Von dropped body after body, all while evading the police and his ops. For a while, it seemed like he was invincible until it all caught up to him. But before we get to how street life made him rap's first ever serial murderer, we need to see how he initiated himself into this life of crime. Because from the time Von was a kid, he was a member of the Black Disciples street gang, so he had a lot of ops from day one. It should be no surprise that by the time King Von became a rapper, he'd taken out more than his fair share of ops. The question is, when did King Von make the shift from another gang member to someone willing to take lives for his crew?
He was in jail for 2 murders?
Yeah, 1 murder and 2 attempts. I just beat.
Now, Von is amazing at keeping himself from getting convicted. The fact is, we can only cover the deaths that have the most evidence connecting him to them. At this point, only he and those he took to the grave with him know for certain who his first and last assignation was. From what we know, it's most likely he dropped his first body when he was only 18. Who was the unlucky op who crossed him? Well, that's the crazy thing. King Von took out his first confirmed victim for fun. Back on October 29th, 2012, Von would tweet out, "I ain't been hanging with T-Roy like that cause he been winning. I gotta catch up first. Give me the Friday, LOL." T-Roy was a homie of his in the Black Disciple who was an op assignation, just like King Von.
Yo, King Von did not care, bro. This nigga was bugging out. He was fiending for a fucking body, bro. Like, what's up with him, bro? He was a demon. He was truly a demon. Like,
They competed to see who could get more bodies to their name, and it seemed that for a second, T-Roy had pulled ahead. The next day, when someone put 16 holes in a body of an op of the Disciples, it wasn't hard to connect Von to the scene. The assassin was efficient enough that the police never found a real suspect, but everyone with an ear to the streets knew what happened. How? Well, they heard it from Von's own mouth. Less than 30 minutes before everything went down, he tweeted, check the stats. The message is clear. He and T-Roy had a game they were winning. The ops were losing. Was that all King Von said on the matter? Of course not. Von wasn't just an op assassin. He was a bold and chatty one at that. He spent all day mocking his victim. And that's the worst thing about getting smoked by Von. You know if he gets you, he's gonna drag you publicly and try to take whatever dignity you have left. You gotta wonder where the victim's crew was in all this. Why didn't they avenge their homie? It wasn't just that simple. Von was a dangerous and clever man. You couldn't just run up on him. The family of Von Zopp openly hated him and regretted that they never got.
we caught 2. We ain't get the last one. I know crack mad the gang ain't get his bitch ass. Damn.
Revenge on him. It's easy to see how King Von got the reputation he had on the streets when you look at the facts. He was the type who'd take you out just to boost his number, and he'd get away with it too. The police never got a good lead for this case, so he never got in any legal trouble for anything. Not only did Von murk an op and get away with it, but he was also tweeting and joking about it minutes after it all went down. It's no wonder Von felt invincible.
You know my aim different. 3 bodies, same pistol.
But he also had the same feeling here, because back in 2014, Von would take aim at a bigger op. He didn't want to just take down an op. He wanted to smoke a legend and prove he was one of the most dangerous men in Chicago. His target, Key Barnes, was a 17-year-old assassin rumored to have around 7 bodies to her name. All those bodies didn't mean nothing to Von, who took her out without a second thought in April. Witnesses told police they saw a man wearing a gray hoodie walk up to Key and her 2 friends. Then out of nowhere, he brandished a pistol and started firing wildly. Before anyone could react or get to him, the man hopped into a car to escape. Police say witnesses were able to confirm this man was King Von. If Von just walked up and smoked an op in the middle of the street and left multiple witnesses, how the hell did he even avoid getting locked up? I mean, it's not like he was careful about self-snitching either. He's referenced Key in songs many times.
This nigga King Von was rapping about, like, he was talking hot, like, he be, yo, King Von be on hots, bro, like, this nigga be on Twitter, you know, telling on himself, like, he just be trolling on Twitter, like, this nigga, he didn't care, like, that's him.
Bitch, I was
The police suspected him pretty much the entire time, but never took him to court. The issue was evidence. Police wanted to lock him up, but just like last time, they didn't feel they had evidence to win in court. Now, that might sound crazy. With 2 victims connected to King Von and his own incriminating tweets, and basically everybody knowing he did it, how could that not be enough to charge him? You see, the thing is, legal standards are super high. You can't just have some tweets and gossip. You need undeniable evidence to lock someone up. And King Von understood that perfectly. That's why no one could play the game better than him. He knew exactly how much he would do or say without crossing the line and risking a guilty sentence. You can even see interviews where he deliberately holds things back.
That's why we need more black-owned businesses right now.
Why is that?
Because he can hire people like King Von. You know what I'm saying? Von wouldn't be able to get a job nowhere else probably.
Oh,
Shit, when you get to that line, have you ever been convicted?
He a dead start, nigga.
Have you
No
been
experience is doing nothing. I ain't, you know.
It's always so strange to see him do stuff like that live. Von always had a lot on his mind. He wasn't just thinking about what he'd say. He was also very precise in how he took out his ops. Have you noticed how clean his hits are? Both times, he fired at the victim and then got out of there quickly before any of his DNA could get at the scene. When everything's done all quick like that, all cops have to go on is basically either a confession or a witness. Obviously, Von was never gonna confess. And unfortunately for police, witnesses were, let's say, reluctant to snitch on him. And those witnesses had good reason to keep their mouths shut. Everyone knows what happens when you talk to police in the cases against the crew. You'll find yourself in worse trouble than you started.
He gets released because the witnesses come up dead. Let's be real with this, though. The witnesses came up dead. Nobody ever spoke about that.
Charleston White has gone on record to claim that Von was known to disappear people willing to talk in court. If that's true, it makes perfect sense why every case he had was full of uncooperative witnesses. They knew the risk of blabbing, so they refused trial. Von's ability to keep people silent would pull through for him again the same month. And it all started with a birthday party in May of 2014. It should have been a normal good time, but Von had to turn it into a nightmare. How did a simple party become a bloodbath? It all started when Von got to the party and noticed 2 of his ops there. The person who invited him over pleaded with him to not start anything in their home, but that was all in vain. Once Von saw some potential bodies, everybody's fates were sealed. He left the house and came back with his homie, Big Mike. He called his friend and told them to take the kids inside. That's right, King Von was about to start lighting people up at some kid's birthday party. Outside was filled with the cracks.
damn, bro. He didn't care, bro. What the fuck? He did not care, bro.
Guns and winds of bullets as Von and Mike pursued their ops. But in the end, their targets kept their lives. That doesn't mean Von's stats didn't rise. A stray bullet hit Malcolm, a bystander who'd gone out to smoke and had no idea a war was happening outside. This seemed like the case that would finally sink our op assassin. The police knew he and Mike were there attacking his ops, knew he was firing off bullets that day, and they had special witnesses. Who was the witness who was going to turn in Von? It was Big Mike himself. Mike had agreed to snitch on Von for a lesser sentence. In the end, Big Mike's rat era didn't last long. There's no official record of what happened, but the word on the street is that Mike got the same treatment of any other potential witness. He was roughed up and threatened until he agreed to keep silent. While we don't know what was said to Big Mike, we do know the case fell apart when the star witness suddenly refuses to cooperate with police. Von had done it again. He'd taken someone out, this time by accident, all while ensuring he could get away with it all. Was Von untouchable? Could the streets ever touch him? King Von was human, and it seemed like a part of him forgot that, but he'd be humbled again sooner than anyone thought he'd be. Fortunately, when Von started a brawl with Quando Rondo, he probably thought it'd be just like taking out his past ops. He'd do it for kicks and get away with everything. But could he have ever expected he'd lose his life in that brawl? In the end, the law was never able to catch up to Von, and he was taken out by the same streets he thrived in. Was King Von worthy of his throne? Few rappers were as open about his body count as him, and nobody matched him since his passing. Was he rap's first and only serial murderer? Well, I guess we'll have to keep our eyes on the drill scene to see if there's ever.
Okay, that's the vid, bro. So yeah, King Von, I ain't gonna lie, when he was alive, like, bro, this nigga was wildin', bro. Like he was wildin', bro. Like he didn't. You see, King Von did not really care about shit, bro. He didn't care, bro. You know, like and I saw that video that Trap Lloyd, you know, like Ross like did. You know, he did a like 3 hour I believe like documentary on how King Von, like, you know, he's a serial killer and all that. Do y'all think he's a serial killer? Let me know, bro. Let me know, bro. All right, and tell me what is your favorite King Von song. You know. All right, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. So we're just checking out you are.